Yes, now, bless now, people. It's Des Rocksteady at King of the Pit TV. I've got a little review for you, a little album review. It's going to be the last time I'll say this, so I apologise if I mispronounce the name. Is it Kublai Khan? Something along the lines of that. I got recommended to put this 5-track EP on by Joel via the Patreon. Joel, you put me on some right music, mate. You've definitely got a type, you, Joel. You've definitely got a sound. You like a particular sort of music. My man Joel's been putting me on to some metalcore adjacent, heavy hardcore style music. And this is probably one of the heavier bands I've been put forward to. At least as far as production is concerned. A very modern production. The album was, or the EP was Lowest Form of Animal. Alright? 5 tracks. Overall, we're probably looking at what? 15 minutes of music, if that. That's, let's round it up, yeah? Let's call it 3:30. 7 minutes. Yeah, let's call it 15 minutes either side of music. It was good. It was consistent. Very groovy. It's my first real introduction to this band. I've seen them uploaded every once in a while on like live music channels. You know, like your Hate 5-6 and your, I don't know, like, you know, your Hate 5-6 adjacent things like, I don't know, Feet First Productions and stuff like that. Heavy band. I've never really checked them out of much depth. In all honesty, it's not necessarily my sound. Bit too heavy. I'll tell you what, when it comes down to pitting and stuff like that, I'm not a mosher who can do the whole beat down sort of thing. I just can't mosh like that. I haven't got the mobility to mosh like that, in all honesty. And yeah. I do love a bit of pit beef, but I don't want to be a participant, in all honesty. So it's not necessarily my style, although it was a good sound. What shall I start by commenting on? First and foremost, one of the first things I picked up on was the... I've got to give props to the sound engineer. The sound engineer was essentially like the extra member of this band on this record because the sound engineering was really good. The sound engineering, the production value gave the band so much emphasis because when you're drop tuned to this and you are so overt with your distortion and your vocals are so harsh, in order to give clarity to a record to the degree this has had, to the point where I'm hearing the bass prominently, even though they're playing the root note of the general guitar riff. I've got to give a money well spent. Really good. Sound engineer gets first props. Vocals are cool. Everybody loved the vocal. In the comment section, everybody were loving the vocals. To me, you know, a little bit metal. I like some weird guy doing weird things. Or some, you know, if we were to compare and contrast, I like the high shriek of a, you know, the intensity of a Knocked Loose. But arguably, to take it deeper than that, if we're going to talk metalcore-esque music, yeah, I like the grim and frostbitten shrieks of the old school, like over something like that. That's what I'd like. You know, the rough and gruff sort of metal vocal. I'm not too fussed on, to be honest with you. I'm not too fussed. I didn't know what tuning this was in. Sometimes when we had the single string picking thing, I'd argue it was in drop A. I would argue it was in drop A. I've had experience. Like, I was around during deathcore. Like when I was getting into extreme music, deathcore was like the first real wave of deathcore. Not like, you know, the 90s precursing sort of foundation. Like when deathcore was deathcore in the mid-2000s, I heard about 20,000 drop B bands. And this sounded a little bit heavier. I would argue it was drop A. But somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. Cool mosh music, very groovy. Lyrically speaking, a lot of people got behind the lyric. A lot of people were saying, you know, real lyrics and so forth. So the fact that these dudes are touching people with the lyrical content, that's definitely props. That's brilliant. The first song in particular, I had a few things to talk about because it could have been executed in such a terrible manner. So it was a song, you know, by the fellas for the women, and Yeah, that's a hard thing to pull off. That is a hard thing to pull off because obviously we go through separate plights and we can't see through the eyes or speak through the mouths of, you know, the yin to our yang, so to speak. So it's very hard to pull off. Very hard to pull off. But it was good and it touched people. People were commenting saying, you know, it was tasteful. So fair shout. Fair shout. Now, what more can I say? By default, you get a little bit of credibility for having Scott Vogel doing guest features on the track, even turning up to the music video. You know what I mean? That's an extra little bit of correspondence. I don't think I've seen Scott Vogel do guest vocals on a track before, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I'm not going to rate this out of 10 because it was an EP, and I don't think I'll do it justice by doing so, because I think it was a good record and I don't want to downplay it because purely it's not necessarily my taste, but I enjoyed what I heard. I bet they're tight as hell live, considering the sound engineering was so good. I don't know if it would create an underwhelming sort of live performance, because like I said, when you drop tune to that low and you have that sort of ferocious vocal and you have such a tightness on the record, even though there's such a massive distortion upon the instrumentation, I don't know if that would actually downplay the live performance, because I don't know how you can sound. You have to be super tight if you want to sound like this live. Like I don't know how they would pull that off. But hey, you know what I mean? I might catch them live one time. You never know. I don't know if they've ever come around here. I don't know if they've ever come around here. If so, it's probably on some like half decent free band tour, you know what I mean, with bands I'm not necessarily too fussed on. People like the max I'm paying to get into, I'm not even paying to get into events nowadays. Let's be real. I'm chatting up the door, man, and I'm just getting in. You know what I mean? I'll go down to my local DIY venue. I don't really attend. I'm not paying money to get into nowhere, to be honest. I'm one of them old heads. I'm one of them jaded old heads. I'll support the venue by paying at the bar. Just get me in. You know what I mean? I'm ahead. So I'll finish that off with that. It was a good record. I'm gonna probably listen to another album by them. I might start from the start to see where the roots of this band is. Once again, peace out, Joel. I'm going. Goodbye.